And it's happening already. It's not something that is going to come, something that is happening already. And I love that. Okay, hold on a second. That is connecting. And it's happening already. All right. That was me in the Zoom. Okay, Nilbert, good morning. And well, we have Nilbert here, and let's get ready to take some notes. And thank you.
All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I was just listening to George recount the I was listening to George recount the amazing events that's going on all over. And yeah, if that's not an indication of we are achieving momentum, I don't know what is, right? And there's events upcoming as well. And then also, I'm sure everyone's very happy about, the power or the core three being extended, right? All the way until June 29. So, it's really such an amazing promotion because it really develops, like the habit that we need to have to grow our business. And until this Sunday, the double bonus is still on. I think the $200 thing is effective until until May 11, and then after that, it just goes back to the regular, $100 bonus for core three, and was that $300 for for being a core three builder, right? I mean, yeah. So take advantage of that. Okay, well. So the topic I was supposed to be discussing today is based on the outline that we were given. It is supposed to be connecting. I know I gave some training on connecting not too long ago, and I know that there are new people here, but I thought that there was another skill set that I think everyone here should really develop, and it's actually a topic that I was assigned to discuss we have the Global Connect and the Global Onboarding calls every week now, right? Hosted by the company. Those happen to be very early in the morning. They're like 6 a.m. On Mondays and Wednesdays. So rather early. And 2 weeks from now, one of the topics I'm going to be the speaker for the Wednesday Global Connect, and the topic I was given by the company to talk about is edification. Now, so I thought that, maybe a lot of folks here might not get on those calls because they are pretty early. So I figured I'd share that topic with you guys here. And edification is something some of you may already be familiar with. Some of you may not be as familiar, especially if you're new to the industry. But it's something that is really part and parcel of the system that we have in place. Okay. Um, so before I show my slides, let me who knows what edification is all about? Like, can someone give me a what they think edification means or what they know edification to mean? Feel free to chime up. Who knows what edification is all about, or what or the definition of it? Yes, Coach Sutra.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So, to me, edification is my opportunity to successfully introduce somebody to somebody else, giving them a highlight of the credentials that that person might hold, or maybe a commonality so that that person can feel more comfortable speaking with my new guest, for example. So, for example, like I might edify Adrian and George as, high-end top earners in, the e-commerce industry. And so that therefore person that is coming to an event, for example, would be first learning about George and Adrian, but also to see them as a person who has experience and expertise.
Amazing. That's Coach Shutra nailed it on the head. It's exactly what edification is all about. And that is why it is so important for our industry. And I'm going to go through a few slides that I prepared for you guys to kind of really show you the like how it works and what the concept or the philosophy behind it is. Okay. So here we go. The power of edification in our industry. Okay. What is edification? Coach Sutra gave us a very beautiful definition. So it's publicly highlighting someone's credibility, character, and value. And why do we do this? Because it transfers trust and belief to others. It's like a third party validation, right? It's not flattery. This is actually part of strategic leadership. And edification is not just used in our industry, it's actually used in a whole lot of, applications. Whenever there's a let's say a motivational speaker, or someone who has like, I don't know, like a very high position in any company or corporation, when they get introduced, usually, we even do it in the military. We usually provide a brief description of the person's short bio, so to speak, achievements and all that. So I know in the military, whenever we have a guest speaker who's like an admiral or a captain or something, the MC or whoever's going to introduce is going to list like, this person has served here, served there, and did this and did that. It's really to build that person's credibility in front of the audience, right? So examples like introducing a mentor before a Zoom, like that, exactly like what Coach Shooter just mentioned, or welcoming a speaker to a live event. And this is for I know we have several people here who came from the Pink Company. This is a popular quote attributed to Mary Kay Ash, right? People will do more for recognition than they will for money. Yeah, imagine that, right? So why edification matters? Okay, it builds trust and connection, right? By how you describe or how you provide the introduction, it will build trust based on the person's qualifications, experience. Like, for example, we introduced George and Adrian, multi seven-figure earners already, or and when I introduce Samson, like I even go like eight-figure and all that, multi-figure, multi eight-figure earner. It builds that kind of credibility and connection. So depending on what the background of your audience is or are, um, the the speaker may come from the same, experience or the same industry. So I know that when some of my team members introduce me as their speaker on a Zoom, and the person that we are presenting to is another veteran or an active duty member, then whoever's introducing me usually definitely makes that connection. Like, yes, Nilbert is a 22-year retired Navy veteran, so it kind of builds that initial connection. It creates third-party leverage. So this one's a little more, I had to really think about this and kind of do a little bit more research. So third-party leverage, what does that mean? Well, let's put it this way. So when you invite someone to the business, right? Whether it's a friend, a family, or someone that you know, someone you already like, whether you grew up with them or you knew them from high school, you knew them from your previous career, when you talk to them about the business, they receive it a certain way. Okay. Yes, there's the trust and all that, but it makes a big difference when you have someone who they don't know, right? Who you introduce, right? That can validate what you're saying. Does that make sense? So last week I had a Zoom that it was my own prospect, and I wanted to make sure it was a very short notice Zoom. I think I scheduled it, and then it was the very next day. So I asked one of my leaders, Lovey, hey, Lovey, can you jump on this Zoom with me? Right? I could have done the presentation myself, no problem. Right? 30 minutes, one and done. Right? But I wanted Lovey to be there because I wanted to create that third party leverage. The prospect that I had, they were also Filipino. They were, so I wanted to have another person. I specifically chose Lovey because, of course, she's also Filipino, and to create that connection and like a third party validation of what I was sharing with them. So I already knew them from before, so I wanted somebody else to kind of like for them to hear it from somebody else. And it reduces resistance from prospects. This is actually a little, I find it, a little amusing, but it's true. Okay, and again, it goes hand in hand with a third party leverage. When you are presenting or sharing information with prospects that there's like that, hey, yeah, well, I know you from before. Yes, I do trust you, but when they hear it from somebody else, it kind of makes them more willing to really take a look at it, if that makes sense. Okay. Edification also encourages duplication across your team, right? If this is a skill set we should be teaching every single person in our team, especially as they're growing their business. Okay. And lastly, it elevates culture and builds belief. Okay. All right. Who and when to edify. All right. There's a process to this system, right? So first, upline mentors on Zooms and events. Definitely, right? We edify whoever the presenter is going to be, whoever the guest speaker is going to be, right? But we also edify, going downline, we edify teammates in team chats and social posts, right? So when you have a group chat and all that, and you introduce one of your, let's say, a brand new member in your organization, you introduce that in your group chat. Hey, I just want you guys to meet so and so. He comes from this, blah blah blah, and he had experience in this, and so on and so forth, right? Your company and its leadership. For those of you who have already attended several of our events, you will find a common, theme or a common system that we always do this with the company, whether it's our launch, convention, and all that. We always edify, the company and the leadership, right? When Daniel Pico gets introduced, Kim, Tyson, there's always an edification that goes along with that. Guest speakers at events, obviously, right? Whoever your guest speaker is. So here's the practice that you kind of like have to kind of get used to, right? Edify up, honor down, and serve across, right? Edify up, you honor down, you honor your teammates and your downlines and all that, and you serve across. Okay, so the 3 Ps, how to edify. Number one, you praise, right? Highlight accomplishments. Example, like help 1,000 families. Okay, you praise. Number two, you touch on the personality. He is such a servant leader, an incredible coach, are great examples. And three, the purpose, why the audience should listen. He'll show you how to do the same. He'll show you how to be successful at this, right? Praise, personality, and purpose. Okay. Now, here's the tip. You have to keep it authentic, natural, and focused on value, right? There's no sense in we don't go into the habit of making things up, right? That's why when you're introducing someone, especially if it's your upline, they're going to present for your, let's say they're going to present on a Zoom for you. You have to make sure you get with your upline beforehand if you're not sure. Hey, how do you want me to introduce you? I did this a lot with all the different mentors and leaders that I've worked with over the past 2 years. How do you want me to introduce you? Actually, even on my the few times that I've done the corporate global showcase, like on Monday, so I would have 3 panelists, right? And sometimes those panelists are not necessarily from my team, like they're from other teams and all that. So I always prepare. I always beforehand, I always reach out to them. Hey, how do you want me to introduce you? Please provide me a few notes, bullet points, a few sentences on your background so I can properly introduce you. Okay, and these are like for my guest speakers. Remember, guest speakers, we edify them as well, and so audience will kind of will have an easier time connecting with them. Okay, common mistakes to avoid. All right, skipping edification altogether. This has happened a lot, and sometimes it's because of lack of lack of training. Like we haven't trained our team members enough. Skipping edification altogether. Now, does it kill the presentation? Of course not. Presentation still goes, but you're missing out on the opportunity, through edification to really make it easier for your presenter to connect with your audience. Right? Does that make sense? Right? You're making their job a little bit easier to connect and thereby, convince or what's the word? Get the prospect to really react favorably or positively to the opportunity. Okay. Overhyping inauthentically, right? That one was a mouthful, but yeah, we don't overhype, right? We just say exactly what it is. Later, I'm going to give you an example of an edification piece that I prepared when when I had the honor to introduce Samson to one of our events some time back. Here's another common mistake, making it about you instead of the expert or event, right? When you're the one edifying someone, it has to be about the person, right? So let's say, for example, I'm trying to introduce someone, a speaker, to a prospect of mine. I mean, the prospect is mine. I already know the prospect. So when I edify someone, I have to make sure that what I'm saying, it's not about me, it's about the person because you're trying to highlight and give credibility to that person, okay, or to the event. And then this one, definitely, something we should never do, comparing or diminishing others to build someone up. We never ever do this, especially when you're edifying someone, it's in public, right? Whether it's an event or it's in front of a Zoom, right? You never, oh yeah, this person is so amazing. He is so much better than this person or whatever. We never ever do that. Okay. So these are the common mistakes to avoid. All right. Real examples and scenarios. Okay. So this is a weak introduction edification. This is Sarah. She's my upline. That's it. I mean, it doesn't provide any value, or it doesn't empower Sarah to be able to connect with your audience, right? Here's a better way to do it. This is Sarah, a top leader who's helped over 500 customers find natural wellness solutions. She's here to help you do the same. Very simple, right? It's just a few sentences, and it's like night and day difference with with the first example. So, one thing you can do is practice a few live or pre-written introductions. So at the start, write it down and give you kind of like a good framework of how to edify. All right. So our call to action today. Oh, actually, before that, let me provide you um, an example of the edification that I was able to do for Samson. Um, and this is during one of the events. Okay. So I said, it's an absolute honor to introduce a powerhouse in our industry, someone whose results speak volumes, but whose heart speaks even louder. He is a multi eight-figure earner in this space, a true visionary who has built global success in his career. He built his business into over 150 countries. a testament to his leadership, strategy, and relentless drive, right? So there's actually a little bit more to that, but everything I said in that short piece is true. Everything about that is real. Multi eight-figure earner. He's in his previous platform. He's already, spread into over 150 countries and all that. So, nothing that was actually made up. But when you actually put it that way, when you say that, when you edify him in front of people, by the time he gets up on stage, people will already have like, wow, this is like really a very successful person. I should listen to this guy, right? So, uh, okay. Call to action. Edify someone daily this week, right? This is good practice. You can practice edifying a mentor, right? You can practice edifying the teammate, or even practice edifying the company. Like, yeah, Through International is blazing the trail when it comes to all natural health and wellness coupled with cutting edge absorption technology. Something like that, right? Use the 3 Ps formula in your next call or post. Okay. Did you guys take down notes of those 3 Ps? I hope you guys remember that, right? Teach your team the importance of modeling edification. Again, we are all about duplication, right? So um, it's great if you learn how to properly edify, but if you don't teach your team, your people, when you're the one doing the presentation, how will they be able to effectively edify you, right? If you don't teach them, if you don't pass this along, okay? Edification creates belief before experience can. Right? We all know, right, that people will eventually believe when they experience the products. People will eventually believe when they can see the income start coming in. But before all that happens, it starts with edification. You edifying the speaker that they're going to listen to that can possibly change the course of their life, right? So as usual, I always leave you guys with a few motivational quotes. This topic actually has a little bit less that I could find when I did a search, but there's a few that really applies. Edify those around you with words that empower, not belittle. Greatness multiplies in an atmosphere of belief. Okay. Not sure who actually said that, but I find it to be really, really applicable and true, right? When you honor others publicly, you multiply trust and privately. So when you honor others publicly, you multiply trust privately. Okay? And lastly, speak to your team the way you want them to become, not just how they are, right? Speak to your team the way you want them to become, not just how they are. So this actually applies when you edify your team member and all that, and it becomes a constant practice. This is also a form of positive reinforcement. For those of you who are very familiar with like the way psychology works and all that, right? Whenever you introduce someone, let's say you work with a team member a lot, you do Zooms together, and you keep introduce you always you consistently introduce that team member. Oh yeah, he or she is amazing. She's like a firecracker. She's working, she's growing her business and all that. um it becomes a positive reinforcement that actually helps them get to where they want to be. So that, my friends, is a quick training on edification. um yeah, I think it's really a skill set that it's not that we don't really talk about a lot, or we don't teach a lot, but I think it's actually very important because, again, it should be part of the systems that we use. It should be part of our process, right? Whenever we do live events or whenever we do Zooms, You are basically, it's like teamwork. You edify someone and you're making it easier for that person to connect with your audience, thereby your audience responds favorably and they decide to enroll in your business, right? So you're helping your speaker help you grow your business. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, okay. Well, right on the dot, 1 minute to go. So, all right. We have, I guess, George, I guess we have a minute or so that we can kind of open it up for people to, just in case you have any questions, right? Anything you guys want clarified, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, it was. I just want to say that's so important because when you are doing a three-way call with somebody and you're bringing your upline or somebody that they don't know, and if you don't edify the person, and the mindset of the other person is, who the heck is this person? And and it doesn't feel comfortable when the person has to edify himself or herself because you didn't do it. It doesn't sound nice. I mean, sometimes you have to blow your own horn, sadly, because we are not introduced right. Uh, uh, I have so many stories of people say, calling, hey, I have a person that went through this, that person knows more than me. And shut up and say, what the heck? And you can see the crickets. And it's funny because many times after I told them what to say a little about my background, I guess they get nervous, but still, this is so darn important is to edify and even edify by your organization or honor down, like you say, honor down because is when you talk to a person after you finish, you say you are in great hands. And let's suppose that and Nilbert is, invite me to do a three-way call with him, and at the end say, you are in great hands. Nilbert is an amazing person. He's looking for improve himself, but he wants to bring with him his best friends because this is a great opportunity. I edify him too back in a way that he said, "Whoa!" And thank you, Nilbert. They're thinking. That doesn't mean that they're going to say it. Thank you for thinking of me. We had to remember that it's a two-way street. But anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Oh, one thing I wanted to share with you because this actually happened. I saw this happen at an event. Just in case the person who's edifying you makes a mistake and says something that's not accurate about your background, okay, it happens.
Mhm.
Please do not, when you get on stage, do not correct the previous edification. Just let it go. Just let it go. Because I saw this happen. Someone edified someone, and the person came up. Oh, actually, that's not true. It's blah 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 blah. And we were like, okay. So yeah, just let it go. I mean, just go with the flow, right? Go with the flow. But that's why preparation is so important, right? Preparation is so important. There were a few times that I like at an event, I was designated to be the MC, like, right, like when I got there an hour before, I was told, hey, Nilbert, you're going to be the MC. I said, oh, okay, sure. And okay, so you're going to introduce the speakers. So I had to go around to the different speakers and actually, because I didn't know them, hey, I'm Nilbert. I'm going to be introducing you. Here, tell me a little bit about yourself and, blah, blah, blah. And so that, so preparation, it's important. Okay. And I, as an MC or as the person who's going to